Elf King Gil-galad, why do you have so many rings? He has a ring on every single one of his fingers except the one, which I guess he was saving for the Ring of Power. Rings of Power Season 2. I am loving this season. Am I loving the season? No, I'm just kidding. This season, for some reason, I just find it to be very comedic. They had a different actor play Sauron. This was before he became Halbrand, back when the orcs rebelled against him and decided to follow Adar. And when he was giving that speech to the orcs, he rolled his R like super hard.
Sauron.
And I don't remember the Halbrand actor doing that in season 1, so I'm like,
Sauron! Sauron.
It's one thing if different people say your name differently, but it's like another thing if you decide to pronounce it differently. I don't know, that's probably a nitpick, but I caught on to that. And ever since then, I've been noticing the R rolls. The R rolling has been really intense this season. Maybe I'm just jealous because I can't roll my R's, but like it sounds like they're overcompensating for the mediocre / kind of not very good storytelling by rolling so many R's that they hope that you sort of can feel that these places, these people are significant when in reality, they have not shown any of that. Episode 1 has been my favorite so far. And then it's been kind of stalling or going slightly downhill because it's been slow and nothing has been happening. And I realized that the only character I now care about is Sauron. They haven't even done much with him yet, other than I feel like he's better in this season because now that we know he's Sauron, he doesn't have to pretend in front of us, the audience, anymore. So now we know he's like evil and he's doing something. He's trying to manipulate people, whereas in season 1 he was just passive and I didn't even know why he was around. This season it seems like he's here for a purpose and he's actually getting things done, but I mean, so far, it's been pretty easy for him.
By bringing its peoples together to rule them all as one.
I don't know why the orcs don't just like go along with it. How is his objective different from Adar's? I thought it was because they didn't want to be slaves and now they're slaves anyways. I don't know what Adar's doing differently. And I know there's this very controversial orc scene. One of Adar's right-hand orcs, he has like a wife with a kid and he doesn't want to go to war. And he's like, must we fight? I didn't even know they had families. I thought orcs didn't reproduce. I thought they were just formed in the mud. You breathe life into them with magic. I don't know where I got that from. They're still using the volcano thing, that contraption. They were digging the canals. I'm like, wasn't that just part of Sauron's original plan anyways? If y'all were gonna just do the same thing, why did you rebel against Sauron? But okay, whatever. We just had to find a way to get Sauron on that raft where he could run into Galadriel in the middle of the ocean. This story is getting interesting because now he's on a mission to actually regain power. It's fun to see him sort of kind of trick these people. The funniest part was Sauron's interaction with Celebrimbor. This season is making Celebrimbor seem like a really gullible elf. He has this face of enchantment when Sauron is like,
Annatar.
trying to give off the impression that, hey, Celebrimbor, nobody appreciates your talent, and I'm here to give you an opportunity to change the world. And then Celebrimbor is just totally entranced by this proposal. He's just like, oh my god, it's finally happening to me. and then Halbrand, he just reveals his form. He changes to his Annatar form. He's like a blonde, beautiful elf now. I don't know why this scene felt like something you would see out of a church brochure, but he just comes out like Jesus Christ on Easter. And he's like, oh, and now you can be the Lord of the Rings. That was the funniest thing. I don't know why I found that so funny. I think it's the look on Celebrimbor's face where he's just like completely awestruck, hypnotized by Sauron, whom he doesn't know is Sauron. Had Galadriel just been honest and owned up to her mistakes, none of this would have happened. Had she not jumped off the boat in season 1 and tried to swim across the ocean, none of this would have happened. Her and Elrond eventually just went back to Lindon, and so Celebrimbor is still in Eregion. And apparently it's really far. I didn't even realize it was far until this season because season 1, it just felt like she was teleporting everywhere. Everyone was teleporting. Freaking Galadriel was all over the map. Elrond and Celebrimbor literally probably just walked to Khazad-dûm. It just seemed like they weren't even on horseback. They just walked there. But this season, I feel like they're trying to change that. They're trying to make it seem like these places are actually far away and that it's going to be hard to get information from one place to another, which it should have been anyways. And it's crazy because Elrond is like the only voice of reason in this because he's the only one kind of against the use of these rings because he's like, we don't know what Sauron has done to them. Maybe we're all falling into his trap, which clearly they kind of are. Elrond was one of my favorite characters in season 1, and he's still one of my favorite characters. But I feel like this season, he's aged by like 10 years since season 1 in the span of like, 2-3 days. Season 1, Elrond was like US presidents before they took office, and then season 2, Elrond is like after they've served their 2 terms. Galadriel, I still do not like her, and in this season, in the beginning, she's literally trying to gaslight Elrond. She's like,
And what frailty blinded you, Elrond?
Nordinen.
well, the only reason. Okay, she's trying to defend herself because she knows she effed up. She knows that she was too prideful in season 1 and she fell into Halbrand, Sauron's trap, and she doesn't want to admit it, or she kind of does admit it, but she feels like she still had a reason for doing what she did, and she still thinks she can fix it. Elrond did a great job. He did a great job putting Galadriel in her place.
Sauron looked inside you and plucked the very song of your soul, note by note, making himself out to be exactly what you needed, the lost king who could ride you to victory. You gave him everything he wanted and then thanked him for it.
Even though she was trying to gaslight him, she was literally like, if you didn't fail at Khazad-dûm,
What other path did your failure, Khazad-dûm, leave us with but this?
You were my friend!
I wouldn't have had to fall in love with Sauron and make the rings. Okay, she didn't say that. But that was kind of what it was, wasn't it? That was what it was. They tried to lead this mission to go to Eregion because they're still trying to warn Celebrimbor. Little do they know, he's already in Sauron's clutches. He fell so easily that I feel like even Sauron himself was like, oh my god, I didn't know you would go a step further than I was actually trying to push you, but okay. There are some other characters in this. Still multiple storylines. We still have the Meteor Man, stranger guy with the Harfoots. Their story is not interesting at all. It still is not interesting to me. I feel like they've dragged this on so long that I'm just like, I don't even care who he is anymore. I've already lost track of what they're trying to do. They're trying to go to this place with the stars or something. They do run into some other Harfoots. We find out that a portion of them kind of broke off and went wandering way back, and they were supposed to come back to the original tribe, but then they wandered for so long that they forgot why they were wandering. Okay, I still don't care about y'all. But this show is just not making me feel any tension. This is probably also why it kind of feels like it drags on. I don't care about most of these characters. It's funny when you act like it's a big deal when it looks like it's not. And then the other storyline is obviously, what's it called? Arondir, Black Legolas, and what's left of the Southlanders. This season, Bronwyn is gone. His human lover is gone. I don't even know why Theo is so mad at him. It seemed like he was mad at him. He was like, you're not my dad, and you didn't protect my mom, and now she's gone. And then we have Isildur, who didn't die. Obviously, he didn't die. And then he meets this other girl, and they kind of have a thing. This lady already has a husband, but she's like, oh, I don't know if he's still alive. And then by the end of episode 4, the husband comes back. They were literally about to kiss, and then the husband's like, oh, hey. And then she's like, oh my god, you're still alive. It's a war, but I don't know what they're trying to fight for. The orcs, they just want to live normal lives too. So I'm just like, why can't y'all just live in peace? Write up a treaty or something. Y'all have the same goals. You just want to raise your families and your kids. Isn't that a common goal? I'm getting lost in all of this. And then the dwarves. Oh my god, there's so many plot lines in this. The dwarves are facing some issues with their mountain. They've lost their connection to their mountain and they're kind of out of food and stuff. Anatar Sauron is also trying to convince them he's going to make them rings in exchange for Mithril so he can make more rings. So Celebrimbor can be Lord of the Rings.
The Lord of the Rings.